What it do, what it do? All right, it's been a while since we made a video. The S7 still here. It's a little bit more powerful. The last time we made a video, we was installing this beautiful set of turbos in here, the SRM 850 plus 4. We still going through the tuning process, currently making around 630 horsepower to the wheels. So before we push it a little further, we have to change those spark plugs so we can see what we can do past 30 PSI. So since we did that video last time, we got a couple of things in the car or on the car. We got new exhaust, sounds beautiful. But today, since like I said, we're doing spark plugs, so I'll show you little by little how do you do the spark plugs on an Audi twin turbo V8. I'm gonna cut through a bunch of process because it's gonna take a little bit of time. There's some things that we gotta remove out of the way. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you little by little the things that you need to remove very carefully. It's a lot of wiring. Just remember, you're gonna unplug a lot of things. You're gonna have to go back, plug everything back in one by one, because if you don't, the car will tell you. It will tell you a million lights on the dash, right? So the first thing is this reservoir, right? This coolant reservoir, that's the first thing you gotta move out of the way. What I typically do is, since I got it pretty full, because a few weeks ago I upgraded the coolant pump, which is down there. So I leaked a little bit of coolant. So that's why it's filled up like that. Usually I picked it up, move it out of the way so you can get access to the driver's side spark plugs, which is down here. So typically what I do, I zip tie these hoses out of the way. When you're removing these hoses, you have to be careful because they break very easily. This little nipple, as you see, I have one. This one broke, and I have a spare one in there. It broke the last time I did the spark plugs. So they have to be very careful. So what you do, you lift this little lug right here. Get your really fine screwdriver, flat tip, small one, lift it. And to prevent it from breaking, you put a 15 millimeter wrench on the back of the neck, and then you just pry it out little by little. Do not pull from here or from there. You put a 15 millimeter wrench right over here on the neck, and then you pry out, and it will push away on the body without putting pressure on that little neck that will break. And once you do that, what I do, this is what I do. You can do multiple ways. The first time I did this, I drained the whole reservoir. You can disconnect it from the bottom, you drain it, but I don't feel like draining it this time. Well, you unscrew it from this holder portion here. The reservoir will move around. And then as you do your spark plug, you get a little bit of leeway to get it out of your way. So as you do your spark plug, you can move it around so you can get to this part here. This is what we're getting underneath that. Okay? Cover up these bungles so you don't leak a bunch of coolant everywhere. So now this is out of the way. Let me clear all this interference so I can get this out. And I'll show you in a second. All right, so if you have cylinder on demand, you will have all of these little plugs that will need to come out, with the exception of this one right here. So you have to be careful with the little tab. They all have this little gray tab, and you have to lift. You lift the little gray tab, thing comes out. Your fuel pump, disconnect your fuel pump. Right, so over here you will have your O2 sensors. They will be sitting somewhat like that. They need to come out, they just slide out. 1 and 2, because where they sit, there's a bracket. And you see this bracket here? This bracket comes out, and under that bracket, right here, you will have a 10 millimeter bolt that's holding this whole thing to the side of the engine. But first, be patient and be careful. Remove your pins for your cylinder on demand. There's one, there's two. There's one more right here under the wastegate. Now, this is a little tricky for me because this wastegate that I have right now, they are aftermarket wastegate. So they are slightly bigger than factory. So they stick out more towards the toward the back bar. So that's why I'm having a hard time right now getting to this pin right here that I gotta lift. There you go. Lift it up, unplug. The same thing on the bottom. Lift it up, unplug. This one is off, lift it up, unplug. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 4. There's one more right here. Lift it off, unplug. Okay, so this wastegate is a little different. So like I said, it's bigger than the factory one. The factory wastegate is somewhere down here, so you got all the freedom. Now that you got all this unplugged, we need to get a 10mm socket and take that screw out and move this cable rail out of the way. This is overkill. All right, this is out. I will give you some room to pull this out. So I will show you how much room you really have to work. It's not a lot. You have to make sure that all your cables are unplugged. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead, before I pull this cable rail out, I will go ahead and disconnect the spark plugs. There's one. All right, so once you get yourself some room in here, this is how much space you're going to have to get the spark plugs out. So I got the first one out, which is this one right here. They are a little flexible at the front. Audi did it that way for a reason. Some of them in some vehicle, this is straight solid. So they knew packaging is tight, so they made this flexible. So you have a little bit of room, right? Obviously, you don't want to bend this, at a 90 degree, but just enough to maneuver around the cylinder. All right, now it's time to get that spark plug out. We already got this prep. So for this car, you will need a very, very slim spark plug socket. It's a 16mm. I got this from Amazon for like 12 bucks. Make sure you properly seat it. Put some torque on it the last time. There you go. This one was a little tight. Nope, still got some more. Yeah, these spark plugs are pretty long. There it is. There it is. Not bad. I tend to mark the spark plug like I did this one. This is from the last time I put it on. Last changes in 2025, 7.5. So I can have an idea how the engine is doing based on when I read the spark plugs. So why am I changing my spark plug to one step colder? especially the Denso spark plug. This spark plug right here is the RS7 factory spark plug. They're pretty good if you want to push your S7 a little bit of power past factory. That's fine on the S7. But now I'm making a little bit more power than the stock RS7, and this spark plug is starting to become a weak point. So this part here, this neck, this engine compared to the RS7 has more compression. So the spark plug is exposed to a higher temperature, higher cylinder pressure, all of that good stuff, which then make this little knuckle looking thing weak over time. And if it come apart, you're lucky if you just happen to fall through your exhaust, out through your exhaust. But if you're not lucky, this still will bounce around inside your cylinder. And that's the easy way to say bye-bye to your engine. So I will show you right now the difference with a new one. I already gapped them. It took me a little bit. So this is the difference between them. See, this little nipple here is more likely either if you run too much pressure on your engine, you're probably going to burn this off versus snapping this. This is easier to come out of your exhaust versus this big thing that can bounce around. And that's where you're starting to become a risk. And yeah, here we go. First one going in. All right, so when you are installing your spark plugs, make sure you are true in there, true and square. Take my tension out just so I can get a better angle. And start it by hand as far as you can, all the way down. This is the one thing you do not want to cross thread. Don't ask me how I know. No matter what engine you're working on, you want to start your spark plugs by hand, all the way down. So remember when I tell you that this thing is a little flexible and it's just to help you with the installation, right? You just have to, this have to go in there. As you can see, there's obstructions in between, so you kind of have to guide it to where it goes, so the rubber doesn't get snagged anywhere. And you can bend it a little bit to get it to where you need to. I want you down there, before you push it down and insert it into the spark plug, make sure you clock it correctly. There you go. Line it to the bolt. And this one's done. Just got to put the bolt in it. Be careful with the bolt. It's really long. And if you lose it down, you got to find it. I use this one to tighten up that coil. All right, so cylinder 5 is done. So you repeat the same thing over and over and over on the driver's side. This is the hardest side. If you're able to do all the stuff I did, move the cables out of the way, make some room, you'll be able to do this. That side there is easier. It's cake. Just gotta take the filter out. Okay, so I'll be back. Let me finish this out and I'll catch up when I'm done with this side. Right, so I am done. I'm not recording. All right, so I am done with the driver's side. Right, as you can see, make sure you go back and look at all your cabling. Make sure you don't forget any plug. Because like I mentioned earlier, if you forget one of these plugs and you try to start the car will tell you, right? So you notice this one, I have this one unplugged, just because the last time I did spark plugs, this clip broke, so it no longer locks in place. It goes in but it doesn't lock because it's broken. So I leave it out because before I'm done, I will swap it out because I got a new plug that I ordered. I just have to de-pin that one, pin this new one in, and everything be back to normal. Reason why I changed is this car get pretty hot. And that's the main reason why I did this. So this alleviates some of this heat that built up in here. And as you can see, Audi built a lot of plastic parts. Plastic parts that over time, clips start failing if you don't control the heat. If you drive the car normal and you don't modify it, this is probably not a big deal. But obviously I have a lot of modifications. So I push the car a little harder than what my grandma would. So I need to control the heat a little bit. With this in here, it's amazing. All the heat comes out. But anyway, put all your pins back together, all your plugs. I gotta put a 10mm bolt in there, which is right here. It's in there. Just like that. If you don't have one of those, get it on Amazon. It's like 50 bucks, not even that. I forgot how much I paid for it. It was pretty cheap. You got everything you will need in there. This thing doesn't need to get torqued too hard. This clip goes in there. Just like that. It clips in there just like that. Slide your O2 sensors back in place. One there, one here. This cable goes in there. I will de-pin it and swap it out in a minute. Now I'm gonna relocate back my coolant reservoir. It's patiently waiting. So there is a little bong at the bottom that sits down there. You just line it up. Boom. Just like that. And you got this little holder there. That's your screw for your reservoir. Hold down. Out of their T-bolt. There you go. You have to put a little bit of pressure to get it started. So that is all good. Your sensor for your coolant. I probably should have put that in beforehand. Well, let's see. There you go. Clip in there. Clean up bigger rounds in a minute. This hose goes before this pin. This little hose goes in there. This one goes in here. Right there. Okay. Flip this back. All right. Everything is done. I'm plugged in on this side. Now I gotta do that side over there. So the passenger side is a little easier. When I mean a little, it's just a little easier. You have a little bit more space. You don't have the coolant reservoir over here. Then you do gotta take the filter. This extension right here. Okay. Got some oil there coming from the filter because I just got done changing out the filter. I gotta clean this engine. Yeah, this engine need a cleanup. Okay. Now this side is a little different. It's easier. You have to find what's holding the bolt in place, which you have similar setup. You have a 10 millimeter there, and then you have a T30 right here holding everything in place. This one pulled out just a little more, but it's a little bit tight, just like the other one, because everything goes through the main cable here, the main cable rail. So, just like earlier, be careful with the small plugs and their lacking tabs. Try to pull even on them, because if you don't, it will break. Put even pressure. If you pull on the left side or the top side of it, make sure you're counteracting that force on the bottom side. Because if you don't, it will break. It's kind of tight. Let's not force it. Okay. Okay. All right. For some reason, the upper clips are easier to come out. But we'll see if we need it to come all the way out anyway. This is loose, it's loose, it's loose. With the 10 millimeter and the T30. Just remember, this one has a ground to it. Don't forget to plug it in. Okay. This little nut, so see like I did that? Just put your finger in there, make sure you hold it so you don't drop it somewhere in the engine bay. Then you're not gonna have it. This is the ground that I was telling you. I don't know if you can see that down there. It's a ground that goes with that bolt. Looks like it's something else in this one. Yep, back there, another 10 millimeter. Get a magnet for that one. Can I see the bolt down there? Probably not. All right, so here's where I might be a little different in your car, because as you can see, I'm running different fuel lines because I'm running E85. So I got a flex fuel sensor bolt on this side right here, and I need to remove it in order to get access to the coils. And hopefully, without disconnecting any fuel line, hopefully I can have some room. Right, okay, I should have some room. Flex fuel sensor out. Now I gotta take out the holder plate. This is covering up that coil. So just remember, if you got flex fuel, and if you put it on this location, this is the TGK flex fuel kit. This coil right here will not come out. All right, flex fuel sensor is out of the way. Now this snorkel right here needs to come out. It's being held down here by 2 bolts, 230. Those are clips. Just 2 clips on top. Take this grommet out, you pulled out. Down here, there's a T30 to remove the snorkel. And once I take that out, you will see how much space you have. Nope, not T30. All right, once you take that bolt out, the bolt will stay. Everything else is clipped in. This plastic is gonna sound funny, but you're not breaking anything. Okay? Now it's out. Now you got access to this whole side of the car. That tiny little thing down there, that's a heat exchanger. At some point I'm gonna upgrade it, get a bigger one, make some good power. Okay, let's see what else. I got room, okay. Move the fuel line out of the way. I got access to that coil, this coil, this coil. All right, let's get to tangle. Ouch. That hurt sharply. All right, I gotta get low here. Sometimes you need a little bit of extra force in these pins because they get hard to pull down. If you pull it with something, make sure it's like a little extension like this, so you can put force on a larger surface area. You can pull it out. This one, the one to budge. Push it in. All right. Last resort, the screwdriver method. And it works. I try not to use the screwdriver method because if you pull too hard, you might damage that. So if you're not familiar with this screwdriver method, don't do it. You did not learn it here. All right, coil is out. Looking good. If you don't spark plug before, as you're taking it out, they get a little tight and then they get loose because they get carbon, stuff like that. And remember, you don't use anti-seize or anything on your spark plug, because I can guarantee you, you will over tighten. The only downside about these tools that I got from Amazon, that they are black. As you can see, there's a lot of black plastic parts in this car. Sometimes you lose them and they're staring at you. That should be good enough. Or not. There it is. Not bad. Dry, no oil. Cylinder 1. Big boy. All right, so you saw what I had to do to get access to this passenger side rail or bank. I'm gonna fast forward this and I'll catch you up when I'm done. So just a recap, once you pull this out on this side, you get a lot of space to finagle, move things around. If you're not modified, you're probably gonna have the factory air box, but it's easy to remove. It's literally just come here, factory connection, undo your hoses. It sit right here in this three prong. disconnect it, pull it out. All right, see you in a minute. All right, so I got all the coils replaced on the passenger side. Now it's time to go back and plug in all your little sensors that you unplugged earlier. The turbo temp sensor, sitting there on the man. That's very important. All right, all my cables are plugged back in. Yeah, missing this spark plug right here. There you go. All right, so now all I have to do is put the flex fuel sensor back in here, put that ground in there with that strap, and put the snorkel for the air filter. I'm gonna clock back in once all of that is in place, and then we go for a first startup. All right, so before I give it a start, swapping over the cables from the high pressure fuel pump. All right, first startup. Let's see how we go. All right, let me turn on the ignition first. Let's see if the car complain about anything. All right. Okay. Idling's good. Man, that exhaust sounds good. All right. No check engine light, but in this car, not everything trigger a check engine light. All right, so let me do a check. Make sure there's no check for vac, zero check engine light, zero Audi code. All right, so look like we did everything good. Doing an overview. Car feels good. So after I did this part here, the louver, I learned that Audi valve train is really loud on this 4.0 T engine. When you have the hood sealed up, you don't hear the engine at all. But see, it's running right now with the hood up and all the valves shattered. This engine valve train is pretty loud. So I'm going to move my wife's car out of the way. And I'm going to go for a little test ride. Ooh. Oh man. Okay. It's time to call it a night. It is time to call it a night. All right. We're done. Car's ride's good. Spark plug is done. Let's call it a night. Bye-bye.